The American people obviously have a high regard for our military, but they don't tend to think of the defense contractors as highly as they do of the military. So do you think there's any reason for that?
So I don't know that they're particularly not beloved, but this is the way I think about it. If the U.S. cannot avoid war through diplomacy or deterrence, it goes to war, and it goes to war with the U.S. defense industrial base. We cannot go to war as a nation without us. We make all the products and services that provide our service people with the weapon systems and protective devices they need to survive and win.
Because of consolidation in recent years, we now have essentially 5 major defense companies. Do you think that's enough? Should we have more competition, or do you think that's okay?
So competition is driven in the defense industry by 2 things. One, the number of new weapon systems coming out, and they're relatively constrained, say, compared to the 80s when you had a lot more defense companies. And 2, the complexity of each of the weapon systems. So the capitalization requirements for defense companies, the large defense primes, and we're one of them, are significant. So given those capitalization requirements, and given that the intimacy that we need to have with our customer, I think we're pretty well balanced at the moment. And by the way, when you think about competition, we have a monopoly buyer with enormous purchasing power. So while we may be in duopolies or some people in monopolies, we are up against a very powerful customer. So there's a lot of shaping that happens in our contractual discussions with our customer.
But sometimes people say that the defense budget is very high because the cost overruns of new weapon systems and so forth. Is that a fair criticism, that sometimes there are cost overruns that are very, very high?
So if you think about the complexity of modern weapon systems, it is not unusual for some of them to have early on in the production or the development some cost overruns. But it's incumbent upon us as a defense industry is that once we understand the technology and then how to build it and how to build it effectively, to continue to take costs out as we go down our learning curves. And that's an important part of the value equation we have with our customer, is driving costs out of systems.